Welcome to today's mindfulness session for entrepreneurs. I'm so glad you could join me. Monday morning is a morning to be grateful for. I know that many people think about Monday as something to dread. Oh no, the weekend is over. No, not me. I'm grateful because I recognize that not everybody woke up today. Not everybody had a chance to have a Monday morning. And so I'm grateful and I'm thankful that you could join us today. We're going to explore the topic of emotional regulation. And if you could share this room, click the invite, click the arrow, and just invite your network in, because it's a powerful topic. If you can learn to find balance and stability amidst the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, you can actually win more business, and honestly, your life just gets a lot better, richer. And no matter how passionate we may be, the truth is that entrepreneurship brings some level of uncertainty, sometimes stress and fear, sadness, anger. So that's why I really want to help everyone who's listening today get a little bit more mindfulness in their day. And again, if you share, let everyone in. We'll talk about it a little bit, bring you up on stage to give your shares, how you emotionally regulate, and then also go into some affirmations and close with a visualization and sound therapy. I think there might be a misunderstanding of what emotional regulation is, because just knowing about it, and yeah, we know it's tied to emotional intelligence, and we know it's about, so you don't respond a certain way, react a certain way, you respond a certain way. But I think what people fail to do is practice mindfulness when you're going through, to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively in the moment. Do you walk out of conversations, out of hard times, having used what you know inside of you? Do you have the resilience to affect your decision making in the moment? Are you doing what it takes? And sometimes it's not just about how you respond or react to other people. It's about observing yourself. So what I mean by that is, when you are emotionally regulating, there's a number of things you should be doing. And that involves a few things, like identifying your emotions and your triggers. It means you are actually identifying, noticing, and even naming what you're feeling. That can be done by scanning your body for clues. What do you feel? Where do you feel it? Do you feel tension or discomfort? What sensations are arising? And then put words to those emotions. Sometimes we fail to put words to our emotions, but when you do that, you're actually tapping into that part of your psyche that allows you to regulate, because you can identify with it consciously on that conscious level. So that's just a practical way to put emotional regulation in motion. Accepting yourself without judgment means to allow yourself to feel present in the moment without criticizing yourself, without resisting the emotion, and reminding yourself all feelings are temporary, like passing clouds. Even I had a little bit of technical difficulty when we started. I had to remind myself, this feeling, I'm feeling upset right now. I can't get things to work, but I know this will pass. I know tomorrow will come. I know there's another 24 to make it count. Right now, I'm just going to accept this moment without judgment. And there's so many ways to extrapolate that in our daily lives. Client call doesn't go right. Deal doesn't go the exact way you thought it would. Just yesterday or last week, you might have had a completely different conversation and something changed. And with those changes come emotions. Well, when you name them, you identify it and you accept it without judgment, then you're able to continue your work, continue what you need to do. And you can also figure out a little bit more clearly what's going on, because when your emotions have risen, you have a flood of hormones that are clouding your thoughts, and you don't always make decisions you don't make the best decisions. And sometimes what we do is have this avoidant behavior. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not even going to go into analyzing that. Well, if you accept yourself without judgment, later on, even if you're not analyzing yourself in the moment, you just allow yourself to be able to do so. Just knowing you can come back to that place where you can analyze when you're ready can also help you. It's like talking to yourself like a child that you really love, giving yourself mercy and acceptance and grace, and knowing, we'll talk about this a little later, either when I'm cooled down or you're cooled down. But you know that just saying that, reminding yourself, feelings are temporary, they pass like clouds. That's the first step in accepting yourself without judgment. When you finally are able to find healthy ways to give voice to your feelings, that it can be really constructive. Expressing yourself constructively can be talking with trusted mentors or friends, but it can even be journaling. And I know many of us who are busy find that to be a waste of time. But here's what I've learned. In all of the things that I've written down, I learned so much about myself, what I truly want, and sometimes what I don't want. And you face yourself. You face your emotions, your reality, whether it's just journaling what happened with the client to go wrong or right or whatever. But when you are expressing yourself, you can vent constructively without blaming. You can come back to something, but it's written in a way where you are processing as well. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs might sleep on this step, but it can be actually really beneficial, especially because I have noticed that whatever I write down with my goals and my dreams manifests in some form. So that's something to consider. And then reframing your thoughts. When you're experiencing these painful emotions, if you notice any unhelpful stories you're telling yourself, like, I'm a failure, or I'll never succeed, or these limiting beliefs, choose to reframe them. You can get a really important and empowered perspective when you do that. And I was watching a clip of Mark Zuckerberg. He must have been giving a commencement speech at a university. And he said, Facebook wasn't the first thing I built. And he went on to list all of the things that he had built, chat this, games that, whatever. And then he listed other important, prominent figures and individuals that we know, including Beyonce. It took her 100 songs to get to Halo or whatever. The point is, there's a reframing that happens, and then you're able to surpass those limiting beliefs until you get to whatever your version of Facebook is, or the Halo song, whatever. You have to understand that you will succeed, but first, to succeed, you have to fail, and you have to fail a number of times. And progress isn't linear. So sometimes things are 150%, and other times they're -2%. But in the long run, if you continue to have perspective, a positive one, you will see how much progress you actually have gained and how successful you are over time. But that is one of the ways to emotionally regulate yourself, is reframing your thoughts and then releasing and renewing. So letting go of those emotions that no longer serve you. What good does it do to hang on to the past or to things that just didn't work out? What good is it to beat yourself up over the head? What good is it to dwell on? Of course, you have to learn, you have to grow, you look at your failures so that you can succeed. But when your emotions are so intertwined and you do not release them, either through journaling or, like I said, talking with trusted mentors or whoever, then you cannot shift your focus to something more positive or productive. And as you know, that is something you have to do to be successful. So when you develop these skills, and I'll list them again: identifying your emotions, accepting them without judgment, expressing yourself constructively, reframing thoughts, releasing and renewing. When you develop these skills, which they do need to be developed, it does not happen overnight. I had a revelation when I woke up this morning. Wow, my mind drifts a lot. But that is not a bad thing, because when my mind wanders, as long as I take note of where I went, I can actually grow. So when you develop those skills, you can surf emotions with mindfulness, and you can gain energy, and it guides you instead of getting pulled out to sea. So when I'm meditating and I realize, wow, I'm wandering, I take note. Where did I go? And later, after the mindfulness session, I will ask myself, why did I go there? What's up? Just question, just like an interview. But it takes time and practice to gently bring your mind back to the present moment in whatever you're doing. And by doing that, you're actually exercising your mind, your muscle, you're training it. And you have better focus and concentration throughout the day. This is why I say one of the best things that entrepreneurs can do is practice mindfulness, because it helps you to overcome burnout before you even get there, or fatigue. It helps you to be able to break through those times when you just have some unhelpful stories or thoughts. It helps you when you're having a confrontation or just an uncomfortable moment, because you're able to regulate. And a lot of that happens because you've been focusing, you've been practicing, you've been meditating, and that skill will grow over time. It's not overnight. Trust me, it's not overnight. But with time and with practice, you learn. So I'm going to go into our affirmations, but I want to ask, if that resonated with you, could you give me a heart? Awesome. And if you haven't shared yet, feel free to still do so. We are midway through our affirmations and mindfulness session for emotional regulation, but as I started just a little bit late, and I do apologize, and I'm grateful and thankful that you're here. If you could share it to your network, help invite more people in so that they could learn some tips to emotionally regulate. I really feel like this one was jam-packed with some key skills that you can learn that will help you. And you can always go to entreferguson.com to pick up these, the affirmations that I'm going to say. And then, of course, click my face if you really want to put it into practice with the LinkedIn challenge that is happening on August 8th. So I'm going to go into these affirmations. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for being here today. While I'm doing that, just take a deep breath and exhale. Letting go of any tension you might have in your body. Loosening up everything that's hard. Maybe soften your shoulders, your jaw. and repeat after me. I acknowledge my emotions without judgment. My feelings come and go like passing clouds. I am not defined by any single emotion. My emotions contain valuable messages. I respond thoughtfully to my emotions. I allow myself to feel without clinging. My feelings are valid, whatever they may be. I release emotions that no longer serve me. I forgive those who may have hurt me. I have compassion for myself and others. I am strong, resilient, and adaptable. Since I want us to have enough time to be able to discuss ways that you emotionally regulate or go into any of those key skills, maybe you have something to add. I know I do want to introduce a simple acronym that I came up with because I really wanted to have you walk away with a practical summary of how to emotionally regulate on the spot. And so the acronym is BOSS, since we're all bosses, either of an organization, but at the very least, our mindset. So here's what it is, and I'll say it at the end as well. For as long as I have breath, I will remember to boss my mindset. Breathe deeply through any emotions. Observe my feelings. Scan my body for tension and release it, and savor this present moment. Shanae, Shankar, anyone who would like to add to this with your thoughts, or maybe you have a story to tell about how someone bombed with their emotional regulation and how that might have really impacted you. Whatever it is that you want to share, you're welcome to raise your hand. You do that by clicking the little hand raise button. I'll bring you up, you can unmic, and we'll talk about it just a minute each, and then I'll give us a visualization to close with so you can continue your day.
Well, I see Wendy has been raising her hand for a while. Do you see her?
I knew it was an accident, but that's okay.
She's like, whoop, it's gone. All right. Emotional regulation, yes, for me as a business owner, extremely important in so many ways. And the way I thought about this morning was giving myself the ability to see the entire picture. Very often when I talk to you in the morning, Andrea, when we prepare for meetings and when we discuss different angles of how we could approach certain things, very often there's like this internal resistance to look at different aspects that you very often point out. And over time, I have learned through emotional regulation to listen and hear, and that enables me to be open to new ways of doing things. And I can see that within the team also. They always express their gratitude for things you implement that I would most likely not have implemented in that way. And it comes down to, again, regulating the emotion. Maybe the emotion of not wanting to let go of control, maybe the emotion of not wanting to let go of perfectionism, whatever it is. So in recognizing these feelings and letting go of them or controlling them, you really, really open yourself up to more success and more power as a business owner. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, Shankar. Letting go is hard, but it is something that we have to learn to do if we're going to grow, if we're going to move on. And I'm just going to bring up Dado. You'll have to remind me of how to say your name. And if you could just probably keep it to a minute, because we're going to go into our visualization right after Rashida speaks as well. And yes, I look forward to speaking with you.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrea. Can everybody hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. No, just to say that everything you've said resonated very, very well with me. And I just wanted to also share how I approach my emotional regulation, especially when there are big, big events happening or certain decisions that I need to conversations that I need to be part of. I take a deep breath and pray, right? I pray for wisdom and tolerance and insight into whatever is going to come to me that particular event. And then I kind of relax. I actually hear what others are saying, and then that helps me also to respond accordingly. And then at the end of the day, I scan. I like what you said about scanning. I scan. I normally say to myself, I'm looking into my heart to see whether there is any negative thing about whatever happened right now that I am holding on to. And when I find that that is okay, then I release it. But on some other occasions, when things don't go my way, I revert to journaling. And then by putting it on paper, it helps me to go back to the issue or to the event and then do some more analysis and realize, okay, yes, I was wrong, or I could have done this thing better, or I need to go back to speak to whoever I was involved in. So that kind of helps. And so I like what you said about expressing yourself constructively and practicing mindfulness, and then I need to go back to the boss acronymism. But thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Rashida, please do come back tomorrow. I'm going to bring us into a visualization because I know that we are all on our way, middle of the day, beginning, end. And I just want you to have a chance to imagine you're sitting quietly by a flowing stream, noticing the sound of the water, observing the leaves floating down the stream, drifting by without resistance. Watch your emotions float by like leaves. Notice them without judgment and let them pass. See that you remain still, centered, while emotions come and go. When thoughts hook you, gently return your focus to the stream. Know you have the power to step back and observe your emotions just like the stream, with acceptance and equanimity. See that you're not defined by any one feeling, but contain a spectrum of emotions to guide you. One final affirmation: I flow with my feelings. Like a wise and patient stream, moment by moment, I meet life with mindfulness. Thank you for joining us today for this emotional regulation session, for practicing mindfulness with us. Hope you have a greater sense of peace and balance and resilience today. And don't forget to boss your mindset. Breathe deeply. Observe non-judgmentally. Scan your body. Savor the present moment. See you tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe to my new YouTube channel. Also, click my face and join the LinkedIn challenge. A lot of calls to action Do them, and I promise you won't regret it. Have a wonderful, mindful Monday. See you back here tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central Time. Bye-bye.